if they can get through the ballistic missile defense of the Gulf states. They're going to have to do more about the drones as well. We've seen that they have caused problems, and indeed it was a drone that killed our 6 soldiers tragically in Kuwait. So the campaign, I think, is moving forward very impressively. The big question all along has been, will there be an opposition force that rises up? Could there be part of the Army in particular, which is not part of the Revolutionary Guards Corps, the regime security force? Could some pragmatic individual there say, you know what, this has brought us ruin and isolation internationally. So maybe we should actually give up our hope for a nuclear weapon and our missile program and everything else and just take advantage of being a country that has the 2nd largest gas reserves in the world and the 3rd largest oil and an educated population.
So, General, you talk about Iran being battered, and one of your successors, Admiral Cooper, we just heard from him moments ago, and he talked about the ballistic missile attacks are down roughly 90% from the Iranian side from the first day of strikes, and the drone attacks are down 83%. Those are significant numbers, obviously, General. Here was President Trump just a moment ago, and then I'll pick it up with you on the other side.
They're calling, they're saying, how do we make a deal? I said, you're being a little bit late, and we want to fight now more than they do.
What do you believe Iran's capabilities are at this point, given those numbers?
Well, it is very heartening to see those numbers come down. We've been watching this for several days now. It's the missiles, of course, that have been the most concerning. Look, one of the factors here is always what's called the missile math, and that is the calculation that's constantly being done by everyone in the region. And this is a regional missile defense effort, and that is how many interceptors do we have left and how many missiles and really launchers do they have left. And the CENTCOM campaign to destroy the launchers together with Israel has been very, very important because if they get through, those are the ones that cause damage. I was in Tel Aviv just a few weeks ago and saw buildings that had been struck by these missiles. Keep in mind, despite all of the extraordinary success of the combined Israel-U.S. ballistic missile defense campaign in the 12-day war, about 5 to 7% still got through. So reducing that number and reducing the threat it poses to the Gulf states now in this case as well, which I think was an unwise decision by the Iranians to hit civilian targets, not just American and Israeli targets. That brings them into the war. It did the opposite of what they expected. They thought they'd put pressure on us to end the war. Instead, the Gulf states are going to start to join us much more than they have. But the missile math is crucial here. And now there's becoming a bit of a drone math, if you will. And that is how many of those do they have left? What are our numbers here? There we have a lot more in the terms of SHORAD, which is short air defense capability, short range. What we don't want to do is expend a missile interceptor that costs $2 million against a drone that costs $20,000 or $30,000.
And Admiral Cooper was talking about that, sort of how the math has changed now, basically being able to spend $10,000 against $100,000 or so, give or take. Here's what stood out to me, General. When we've seen these strikes, for example, this was a port. The U.S. isn't just going after everything. It's very precision, like these 2 buildings here were struck. And you could see the damage, but they left this one, this one, this one, this one, and that one. And I could show you all sorts of satellite images, and this is kind of what you see. Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of War, said moments ago that the firepower over Iran and Tehran is about to surge dramatically. I only have about a minute left with you or so, sir, but what do you believe that looks like here in the next 24 hours or so?
Well, what it looks like is that we now have the ability to fly not just stealth fighter bombers, F-35s, and the B-2 stealth bombers, but also the real workhorses that can carry enormous payloads, the B-52s and the B-1s. We're not concerned really at this point in time about the air and ballistic missile defense of Iran as long as you stay above heavy machine gun range, and that means you can just really pour it on. I would argue that we actually have air supremacy now, not just air superiority, but I think folks are rightly cautious about those kinds of assessments publicly.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.